is up, everyone? I know it's been a long while since I've last posted anything, but here we are. I've been putting this video off for a while. Most of you know that I'm a huge fan of the Last of Us video game franchise, and I've talked about it a lot on my social media. I even posted my entire playthrough of the second game on my YouTube channel, and I even made a video essay about the story, a story analysis video essay on the entire second game, really, my interpretation of the characters, the story. I worked really hard on that video, and I don't think anyone watched it.
I just found out that my cable show only reaches 12 people.
Man, I think I posted that back in 2021. So it's already been like 5 years since I've posted the playthrough, 4 since I posted the video essay. And then I said everything I needed to say about it, and enough time has passed. But I never really took the opportunity to talk about my thoughts on the HBO show that came out. And now that season 2 came out a few months ago, I figured enough time has passed. And I guess I wanted to share those thoughts with you today. I'm going to be honest, I have mixed feelings about the show. I thought season 1 was okay. I thought it was decent, but I didn't think it was perfect. And I don't think it lives up to the video game. I know they say that about a bunch of shit, especially like when a book is adapted into a movie or a show. People say, oh, the book is better. And it's no different with this. The video game is better, but the difference between a book and a video game is that a video game is an interactive form of media. And nowadays, video games are already super cinematic. They feel and look like movies. I didn't think it needed an adaptation, but I can appreciate why they did, because doing so meant that it would reach a much larger audience that otherwise wouldn't have been exposed to this story, because there's people out there that will never pick up a video game controller to play this game. And having it in television format is more accessible to this demographic of people, especially since they casted Pedro Pascal, and Pedro Pascal has a lot of pull. People are going to tune in just to watch him. My issues with season 1, it felt off. I don't know how else to articulate it. It just felt off. It didn't feel like the characters from the game. They missed the magic between the two leads, which is Joel and Ellie. And I feel like that's what makes it subpar compared to the game, because that's the main source of the magic of the games, is the connection, the relationship between Joel and Ellie. I don't know if I'll get into it in a minute, but I mean, that's my issue with season 1. Season 2 was atrocious. I did not like season 2 at all. I was incredibly disappointed and frustrated and upset with how they handled season 2. The issues that I had with season 1 are present in season 2 still. Like, it didn't change, they didn't fix it. And so the vast majority of my complaints will be based on season 2. TV audiences will never experience the magnificence of the game. They're getting the great value version of this story. And as a fan of the games, it frustrates me because I want others to experience this amazing story the same way I did. And the fact that they're getting this watered down, sanitized version of it is disheartening. I think the biggest issue, the main complaint, is the writing. I put that blame on Craig Mazin. For those that don't know, Craig Mazin is the showrunner and writer for the show. Okay, whereas Neil Druckmann is the creator, writer, and director of the video games. He was involved as an executive producer for the show. until recently, I think it was like last month, he withdrew. So he's no longer involved in the show. And he won't be involved for season 3 when it comes out. And then Hallie Gross, who is the co-writer of the second game, she was also involved as a writer and executive producer for season 2. And she also withdrew. That's just a bad sign. That just gives me no hope for season 3. There's no hope. I don't think there's any salvaging the show any longer. Some people speculate that the reason they left was because of disagreements or creative differences with Craig Mazin. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Even so, the show being written by Craig Mazin, he has the vast majority of the credits. The reason that the show isn't working is because I feel like Craig completely misunderstood the characters and the story and the main themes of the second game. And it just doesn't feel like the same story or characters. To the point where he completely mischaracterized them and wrote them in a way where they don't even resemble the characters in the game at all whatsoever. Show Ellie and video game Ellie, they're not the same characters at all. Joel in the show, Joel in the game, not the same character. They have the same name, but they're totally different characters. And that bugged me. So in season 1, one of the things that I disliked about how they mischaracterized Joel was how TV Joel was more vulnerable and emotional.
I was so afraid. And I have dreams. I just know that when I wake up, I've lost something. I'm failing in my sleep. It's all I do. It's all I've ever done. It's failure.
Whereas in the game, he's more stoic and cynical. And I mentioned this in my video essay back in 2021. Joel was not a guy who was willing to share, to talk about anything. He was not vulnerable at all. He would keep things to himself.
Hey, look, about Tess, I don't even know.
Here's how this thing's gonna play out. You don't bring up Tess. Ever. Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves. That's too small of a grave.
I forgot to leave that stupid robot on his grave. What should I do with it?
Ellie.
What? I want to talk about it.
No.
Why not?
How many times do we need to go over this? Things happen, and we move on.
It's just...
That's enough.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Here. It's a little faded, but it still looks pretty good.
I'm good.
You sure? I mean...
I've said I'm good.
I broke this down already years before the show even came out. I feel like I understand these characters a lot. The TV version of Joel was less violent than the video game version. I think that was a huge mistake because they need to show how ruthless he is. There's been numerous other video essays that touch on this, and they do a much better job articulating that point. One thing I didn't like about season 1 was how Joel and Ellie met in the show. Joel was immediately violent with Ellie. Like, I know she's coming at him with a knife, but he throws her against a wall and points a gun at her. It threw me off when I first saw that because Joel never points a gun at her at all in the game. Ever. Not once. Not once in the entire game franchise does he ever point a gun at Ellie.
Whoa. Come on now. Get on up.
Fuck away from her!
Let her go.
You're recruiting kind of young, aren't you?
She's not one of mine.
And so that was like a red flag tick mark where I was just like, I don't know if I like that decision. Why would they make him do that in the show? It just kind of comes off like violent, but it's funny because he isn't really violent in the entire season of the show. As a matter of fact, he ain't violent at all, other than when he beats up the officer when they're trying to escape, and then when he's doing the torture and interrogation scene. And I literally can't think of another time when he was being being violent and like being murderous the way he is in the game in the show. It's just like there's not really, he's a very tamed up version of Joel. And that's why I keep saying this over and over again. This is not Joel. This is a different flavor of Joel. It's not as palatable for this story. I don't think it makes sense for Joel to be more of a pacifist than a violent brute. I don't know. It just... The reason their characterization matters is because it shows the dichotomy between Joel and Ellie. They are polar opposites. The dichotomy between Joel and Ellie is imperative to the story. It's important to see that Ellie is selfless, compassionate, empathetic, vulnerable, funny, innocent, naive, and charming. These qualities contrast with Joel's selfishness, stoicism, cynicism, real-world experience, and inability to be vulnerable. Because these qualities reflect the decisions they make, it becomes very clear that Ellie would absolutely sacrifice herself to save humanity. Because that's something that a selfless, compassionate, and empathetic person would do. And it also makes perfect sense that Joel would damn humanity to save Ellie because he selfishly doesn't want to lose another daughter. He doesn't care about anyone else, just her. We know this is his biggest driving force because of the immense pain he experienced after he lost Sarah. If the characters are completely different from the game, this critical moment in the story doesn't hit the same. It becomes less believable that Ellie actually cares and would sacrifice herself to save humanity. Changing the characters' personalities messes with that dynamic, the dichotomy, the chasm between these two characters, and makes for less likable characters. It just feels like an off-brand version of it. The main issue with season 1 is that it didn't give enough screen time for Joel and Ellie to bond in a believable way. Part of that is due to the limited episodes, plus they gave more screen time to the side characters and other aspects about the world, like the world building and such, but with such limited episodes, they should have focused more on Joel and Ellie's story, how they build their bond, their relationship. Although the world building and the technicalities of the show are excellent and they do a good job at recreating a lot of what's shown in the video game, it's really not what should be the focus. The story is about Joel and Ellie, and because that's what the heart of the story is between these two characters. You know, that's what differentiates it from other zombie video games and zombie shows. It should be about this bond that's formed between a surrogate father and an adoptive daughter. If they had more episodes, you know, somewhere between 12 and 14, the expansion of the side characters would have been fine, but there was only 9 episodes. And that precious screen time should have been given to Joel and Ellie to have them build that bond, to see that gradual build up and see that connection form. Because what they gave us in the show wasn't as believable. Streaming nowadays, they only give like anywhere between 8 and 10 episodes, which is really not enough. In video games, you spend way more time with these characters. So you get to know these characters much better, and you start to see the relationship of the characters unfold gradually in a grounded, organic, and more realistic way.
You gonna be okay with this?
Yeah, not a problem.
You're doing a good job. I figured you should know that.
I won't let you down with this.
All right.
The development of their bond is more believable in the video game. And the fact that Craig Mazin did the podcast for, you know, the HBO podcast that is based on the show, I kind of got the feeling right away that Craig doesn't know what he's talking about. It's strange because he's such an articulate man, and You can tell he's an intelligent guy, but anytime he was trying to break down the psychology and the headspace of the characters, he was way off. I just felt like he didn't really understand these characters. Obviously that involved Joel and Ellie, but I feel like he really went off track with Ellie. And of course there's always examples of the bad writing, like the lines, the corny, cheesy lines.
Ta-da! Natural gas, baby.
It's like the "I'm gonna be a dad" line. And yes, it was cringy.
Holy shit. I'm gonna be a dad.
Bella and I were talking about that episode, and I like to run things past them all the time. And I was like, okay, this just popped into my head. I don't know why, it just felt right. It's not an expression of even gender as much as just state of mind. Bella said, oh, no, I have to. Sometimes to have somebody say, oh, I don't mind doing that, you're looking for them to say, oh, no, I must. Yes, please let me do that. The joy that just burbles out of Bella when they say, I'm gonna be a dad, it's wonderful.
That is the stupidest approach to a scene. You don't add things to a scene just because they felt right or because you thought it was funny or cute and you wanted to add it in. You add things in when they feel authentic to the characters. It needs to make sense. It needs to feel like something that Ellie would say or do. It needs to add to the story, to add to the character. And that line was a very poor choice. Because you're not thinking about Ellie, you're just thinking about the actor, or you're just thinking about being cute and funny. Like, it's fine if you record shit for shits and giggles, like put it in the blooper reel, fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But to put it in the finalized episode, like, you need to think about the story as a whole. You need to think about the characters, and doing frivolous shit like that, it pisses audiences off. It pisses gamers off because it was completely out of character. I can never picture Ellie saying that in the game. If you watch the video game, you will see that you can never picture Ellie saying that fucking line.
I think I'm pregnant. What? Don't worry, it's not yours. What are we supposed to do now? Nothing. I just need to rest for a second. Are you fucking kidding? How long have you known? It was late a few weeks ago. A few weeks? We could have still turned back. I didn't know. I wasn't sure, okay? I didn't want to be a burden. Well, you're a burden now, aren't you?
So, we're having a baby. I mean, we, and also, I guess, Jesse, or... It was Jesse, right? So we're all having a baby. Holy shit. I'm gonna be a dad.
It just felt right.
It was just a very poor choice, and you can clearly see why. He just comes off pretentious with how confident he is about admitting that. Like if he struck gold with it, it's honestly embarrassing. The fact that Craig encouraged the entire cast to not play the video game is a red flag to me. His reasoning was that he didn't want the actors to recreate performances or to copy performances from the game. First of all, that's incredibly insulting to the actors. Like, to assume that they're incapable of coming up with their own interpretations of the characters. That seeing someone else's performance means that they're automatically going to copy someone else's performance. Like, what the fuck? Like, do you think they're incompetent? Like, what? They're actors. This is their job. This is what they're good at. And the fact that you're undermining their talent and their skills is insulting. And to think that they shouldn't play the game when this game has such a huge fan base, and changing anything will lead to backlash, you know, especially if they're the most important things, like the characters. Actors always do research for their roles in anything, shows and movies. Like whenever an actor is playing a biopic, right? They're playing a person that lived in real life. They do research. They look up the person that they're supposed to play. They learn about their life. They meet their family members, or they, you know what I'm saying? And they learn as much as they can. If they're playing a character from a period piece, they learn the customs of the time period. They learn how the accents on how they speak, the cadence of how they speak, and all that shit. These are things that actors do to prepare for their role. How is this any different? Learning the game and the characters playing that would have been great for the show. I don't think it would hurt or harm it in any way. And so I don't understand that logic of Craig just saying like, oh, don't play the game. I don't want you guys to copy the... I would have given him the finger. In the video game, there's an important song called Future Days that is constantly being played and replayed throughout the game, and it's supposed to represent and reflect Ellie's grief and connection to Joel. It's introduced in the first scene of the game where Joel plays the guitar for Ellie for the first time, and he sings that song to her because that was his way of telling him how he feels about her. It was him telling her he loves her. And he teaches her how to play guitar. So she learns guitar, and after she loses Joel, there are so many moments where she plays that song. Specifically that song, Future Days.
What was that?
Nothing.
Well, nothing sure sounds nice.
And it's incredibly important because it's central to the story and the character. What baffles me is that Craig didn't want to use Future Days for the show. He wanted to use a different song. And Neil Druckmann had to convince Craig to keep the song, to include the Future Days moment in the show. The song and the scenes, all of the scenes with the guitar. The fact that Craig didn't initially see the value and importance of that moment and all of the other guitar moments only shows how disconnected Craig is from the story. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't get the emotional impact that scene and that song has, how it represents the emotions that Ellie is feeling. Grief, loss, trauma, her connection to Joel, those are central to Ellie's arc. Something that season 2 failed to capture. And it was all because of Craig. And if he didn't add that song in, I mean, the season 2 was already in the garbage, but can you imagine how much worse it would have been if he hadn't added it? One of the first things I noticed was that they used too much exposition for the show. The game has way more subtlety and nuance in their storytelling. The show, however, I feel like I think they lean too hard in direct exposition. Like everything is spelled out for you. The characters they're always saying what they're thinking or feeling instead of showing or doing the exposition. Just, it feels like Craig doesn't trust the audience to pick up on anything unless it was shoved in their face. Like, the dialogue is super on the nose. It comes off like if it thinks the viewers can't handle nuance. One of the examples of glaring exposition has to be Abby's revelation of her motivation. There's no mystery or tension because they reveal her motivation right away. In the game, Abby's character was completely shrouded in mystery. Like, nobody knew anything about her. When they were advertising the game, I think it was like back in 2017, and they dropped the second trailer. It was really more of a clip. It was a reveal of Abby's character, but they weren't referring to her as Abby because her name wasn't revealed yet. So she was referred to as the Mystery Woman. So nobody knew anything about her character. Nobody knew her name. Nobody knew her role in the story, and everyone was speculating on who she might be. And some people were saying, oh, she might be Ellie's mom, or what if she's Ellie's sister? Or I didn't believe any of those. I didn't think those were plausible possibilities. I genuinely didn't know who she was. You don't even find out her name until you play as her. I think you get to play as her in the beginning of the game after the first chapter with Ellie, and then it switches over to Abby. And as soon as you start playing her, and when you play, there's like in-game dialogue in the cutscenes, and they tell you who's talking. And anytime she was talking, it would refer to her as woman. And anytime Owen would talk, it would refer to him as man. So woman and man. And you don't find out her name until Owen finally says it.
Hey, eyes on me. Abby, stop looking down.
And that's it. You know absolutely nothing about her motivation. You find out that she's looking for someone. I mean, clearly, whoever they're looking for, it ain't good news. Nothing good is gonna come from that. Even so, like, when that scene happens, the scene where she tortures and kills Joel, she never monologues her motivation to him. He never finds out who she is or why she's doing what she's doing, and neither does Ellie. But she just finds out that she was a former Firefly. She never finds out that she was the daughter of the surgeon, and neither does Joel. Joel doesn't, they don't spell that out in the game. You as the gamer don't find out that she is the daughter of the surgeon until the perspective switches to Abby. So you just finish Ellie's section of the game, and then it switches perspective. It takes you into a flashback, and you start playing as Abby as a teenager. And it's not until the end of that flashback you find out, oh, she's the daughter of the surgeon. And it's like everything starts to click and make sense. Like, that's why she did this. Whereas in the show, they spell it out immediately. Literally, the first scene of season 1, it starts with her. So, viewers of the show know right away exactly why she's doing this. And what's especially bothersome to me was that they explained her motivation over and over and over again on 4 separate scenes.
Not until we find Joel. We're finding him.
He's a smuggler. His name's Joel or Joe. There's some confusion about that.
50s, graying, beard, 6 foot tall, scar on his right temple.
Do you know how many you killed that day?
18 soldiers and 1 doctor.
An unarmed doctor you shot in the head. That was my dad.
Don't you know what he did? He killed everyone in that hospital, including the only fucking person alive that can make a cure from you. That was Abby's father. And Joel shot him in the head. That's what he did.
Before I came to Jackson, there was a Firefly base in Salt Lake City. They had a hospital there. They were gonna use me to make a cure, but it meant that I would have died. And Joel found out, and he killed everyone in the hospital. He killed Abby's father. He was a doctor. And Joel shot him in the head to save me.
How many times do we have to have this spelled out for us? Like, we know. The audience knows. We get it. There's no need to keep spelling it out and explaining it to every character. And this sort of thing, this repetition, it kills the pacing and it removes any sense of discovery. It's a waste of time. It becomes frustrating and boring for the viewer when you're constantly having exposition repeated like that, explained and re-explained and re-explained, and it's like, why are we being shown this over and over again? It felt completely unnecessary. I mean, that's just one example. There's so many other moments where they show other forms, other exposition dumps, where they have everything explained to you. You know, a character is literally vocalizing out loud what they're seeing, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. And it's just like, nobody talks like that in real life.
Our commander trained us to follow a code. We don't kill people that can't defend themselves. And right now, that's you. But I am going to kill you.
People came and killed Joel. So why wouldn't we want to take our vengeance? Well, because we're not supposed to. Forgive and be forgiven. No grudges, no revenge. And I'm not even a Christian. I've always seen the wisdom in that. That's what separates us from the raiders and the murderers, our capacity for mercy.
Those sons of bitches don't deserve our mercy.
Well, of course they don't deserve it. That's what makes it mercy.
Well, to hell with that.
You can't heal something unless you're brave enough to say it out loud. I know I should forgive you. Turns out nurture can only do this much. The rest is nature. If she's on a path, it's not one that Joel put her on. No. I think they were walking side by side from the very start. Some people just can't be saved.
It bugged me so much. I did not like that. I hate exposition. When I say that, I'm talking about the overuse of exposition. Obviously, exposition is necessary to tell a story. But if you're constantly using direct exposition, where they're verbally explaining everything, instead of showing it through actions or, organic storytelling, it just becomes lazy writing when you overuse it and have everything explained to you all the time. And again, the very first scene, when you have all the fireflies and they're all there and they're literally just voicing everything out loud, that was annoying to me. I didn't like it, especially like when Owen was confirming with Abby, like, yeah, we'll help you find him and we'll help you kill him. I was like, fuck.
You'll help me find him.
Yes. I'll help you find him. And I'll help you kill him.
I cringe so hard when I hear lines like that.
Casting Abby was an interesting challenge. I mean, for starters, we knew from the game that she had this tremendous physical presence. She's a very strong woman, physically strong. And one of the things I talked about with Neil early on was why. I love to ask pesky questions. Why did you do that? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? And he said something really interesting and I hadn't considered because I don't make games, I just play them. And he said, when you divide gameplay between two characters, you need them to have different gameplay styles. Well, Ellie, we already knew from The Last of Us Part 1, had a different playstyle from Joel. She was stealthy, she was quick, she was sneaky. So how do we differentiate between Ellie and Abby for playstyle? We make Abby much more physically imposing. She can run in there and just start swinging. But for the television show, that's not a factor. We don't have gameplay issues like that. So we kind of opened it up to say, look, let's just look for somebody that has the spirit of Abby, has the heart and the mind, and let's see where the physicality goes. Caitlin just jumped right out to us, and Caitlin just seemed like the perfect person, and yeah, we got it right. I gotta say, we got that one right.
It's laughable how Craig couldn't figure out the narrative purpose of Abby's muscles because it's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. This just proves to me that he didn't actually play the game. He probably just skimmed watched the cutscenes on YouTube, which is not enough because there's so much context that is shown through environmental storytelling in the gameplay that is not shown in the cutscenes. So the fact that he was clueless about the purpose of Abby's muscles shows that he didn't play and understand the game. And I don't know why Neil Druckmann didn't explain it to him and chalked it up to only being a game mechanic decision when there's also clearly a narrative purpose. It's not difficult to understand that Abby was so obsessed and consumed by vengeance that all she could think about was training herself to be as strong as she possibly can be so that when the day would come, she can take on Joel, beat him, torture him, kill him. She needed to be physically imposing and strong enough to actually be able to pull it off. She couldn't let it go. It consumed her, and it was all she could think about, getting Joel. Sound familiar? Seeing the parallels? Ellie is obsessed and consumed by vengeance the same way that Abby was. So yes, Abby's muscles are important, as trivial as they may have seemed to Craig. It's supposed to show the parallel to Ellie. It's a direct indication of the cycle of revenge. It is important, and they should have casted an actress with that physique. Katie O'Brien comes to mind. She would have been an excellent choice to play Abby. She literally has the same exact build as her. And although I've only seen a couple of films with her, she really was good in the films that I did see her in. So I know that she has the acting chops plus the physique. I just feel like that was an easy choice that they completely fumbled and missed on. Don't get me wrong, I love Caitlin Dever, but I feel like a lot of people agree that Caitlin would have made a much better Ellie. She looks more like Ellie, and she's an incredible actress. She's done both comedic and dramatic roles. And Katie O'Brien, I feel like she could play Abby, but anyway, they made the decision that they made, and look where that got them. In the game, the flashbacks are spread out and strategically placed in parts of the story that reflect what Ellie is thinking, feeling, and what motivates her. In the show, however, they consolidated all of the flashbacks into one episode. They changed some things, however. In the show, all of the flashbacks take place on Ellie's birthday, whereas in the game, only one flashback takes place on her birthday. The birthday gift, which is the scene with the trip to the museum. The show omitted the Finding Strings flashback and added completely new flashbacks, like the queer flashback. I wasn't a fan of this addition. Making Joel homophobic was dumb. In the game, Joel doesn't find out about Ellie's queerness until the night of the dance. We know that because during the Finding Strings flashback, if you read Ellie's journal, you see that she was dating Kat at the time and was keeping it a secret from Joel. She expressed how everyone else seemed to know except him and how unsure she was about how he would react if he found out. And we know that he didn't know because he thought that she had a crush on Jesse. So when the night of the dance comes around and Joel sees Ellie and Dina kiss and what Seth says to Ellie and Dina, he doesn't hesitate and swoops in to defend her. He doesn't care that she's gay. I'm sure he was surprised because he wasn't aware, but it didn't make a difference because he still deeply loved Ellie. So he mentioned Dina in their last conversation and was supportive of her. He just wants her to be happy. So I don't understand what was the point in making Joel intolerant of her queerness in the show. I get that the timeline shift probably played a role in that, given that the outbreak year in the show took place in 2003, a time when homophobia was alive and well. So perhaps it was meant to be a reflection of the perceptions of that time era, but I just thought it was so unnecessary. I prefer the non-judgmental Joel from the game that loved Ellie unconditionally. And then there was the whole storyline with Eugene. Again, not a fan. Eugene was a character in the game, but but he's only mentioned by name. You never actually meet his character. And his character is deceased in the game. And you find out that he had a wife, but she had a totally different name, and he had a daughter. And you find out through a letter that you find that he abandoned his family to join the Fireflies. In the show, he's married to Gale, who is not a character from the game at all. She's completely made up for the show. Anyway, the scene with Eugene, I thought it was very well acted, but I much prefer the confession scene in the game. I thought it was far more impactful and phenomenally acted. The whole scene where Ellie snitches to Gale about Joel's lie just felt like an immature and petty thing to do. It was all such a convoluted way to show that Ellie knew about the lie. I don't know. I just prefer how the game showcased that reveal of the truth. Having all of the flashbacks consolidated into one episode really takes away from all of the moments that you're supposed to know and understand what Ellie is thinking or feeling. You're left in the dark for the entire season until episode 6. And then you see and find out, like, oh, well, she always knew, I guess. It just seems, I think it's important to know and see Ellie's headspace and being shown those flashbacks in those strategic moments in the game is what helps you understand why she's making the decisions that she's making, why she's thinking and feeling the way she does, or why she may be concealing something that she's feeling or thinking. And in the show, I mean, she makes every decision that she makes, it just comes off like she is an impulsive brat who's just mean. You don't know the real reason why she's angry or, why her relationship with Joel is contentious. Whereas in the game, you get bits and pieces and crumbs, a trail of crumbs where you figure out and you gradually figure out, oh, that's why she's saying this, doing this, thinking this, feeling this. There's a narrative purpose to having the structure of the spread out flashbacks that just makes more sense narratively. There's people that argue otherwise, but I'm doing a terrible job explaining it. But there are so many video essays that have touched on this, and they explain it beautifully, how it's imperative to have the flashback scenes happen exactly when they do in the storyline because, well, it reveals the story in a strategic way. It's just superior to what they did in the show, which was just having them all in one small, neat, packaged episode. And I just wasn't a fan. I was hoping to see flashbacks throughout the season, and seeing it all in one episode, I was disappointed. But out of all the episodes in the season, I have to give them that episode 6 was the best episode in season 2. Neil Druckmann wrote and directed episode 6, which makes perfect sense because it was the only one that felt the most like the video game. And it's just such a shame that the entire season didn't get that same treatment, that same love and care. But it is what it is. The porch scene is the most important scene in the entire game, and it wasn't revealed until the very, very end of the game. It was a revealing moment because it showed Ellie's true motivation of her vengeance: regret. Her inability to forgive is what robbed her of those final years with Joel. Holding on to the resentment for so long is what kept her distanced and estranged from her only father figure, and she deeply regrets it. And the final conversation on that porch shows that she was willing to try to forgive. She wanted to work on repairing her relationship with Joel, and Abby robbed that opportunity from her. In the show, they placed this scene in season 2, episode 6, which is a mistake in my opinion. We're not supposed to know any of this information yet. Plus, the show actually combined another scene in the game with the porch scene, which I thought was a terrible choice. It's the confession scene. Ellie gives Joel an ultimatum: tell me the truth or never see me again. She demanded he tell her the truth of what happened at the Firefly Hospital. He confesses. Ellie is distraught and doesn't want to have anything to do with him. She didn't talk to him for 2 years, up until the night of the dance and on that porch. This amplifies the regret because it's lost time that she could have used to repair her relationship and reconcile with Joel. Having the confession happen the exact night of the porch scene takes away the potency of that regret because she chooses to try to forgive him 2 minutes later, whereas in the game, it's 2 years. Which do you think would make you feel deeper regret? Losing your dad a day after he confesses, or losing your dad after 2 years of estrangement? Because it seems pretty obvious to me which one would make me feel more awful. That regret deepens her grief, which leads to resentment towards Abby, which motivates her to seek revenge and get Abby. The show's version is just not as impactful, period. It's just not. Joel never tells Ellie that he loves her in the game. He doesn't have to because it's obvious. And Ellie knows that he loves her. She loves him too. The show explicitly says it though, which I was not a fan of. I think it would have been more sad and impactful if he didn't say it, because that would lead to even more regret, which makes everything feel that much more sad and tragic. All the time wasted, the missed opportunities to forgive and move on, to let go of resentment and let your loved ones know that you love them and spend as much time with them. That regret is more fuel for motivation for vengeance. That's what we needed to see in season 2, but we didn't. That's why the video game is far more impactful than the show.